Alright, so hold on, I want to see this Metroid Dread thing. Hold on. Storm skip. Okay.
Hello everyone,
Hello.
Here. I have done it again.
Again.
A new skip for Metroid Dread.
He's done it
a
again.
Skip that is very likely compatible with no major glitches and route changing. And I want to tell you about my little adventure hunting for this trick. So while I was looking around for something more to break in this game, an idea came to mind.
Okay.
This door.
What's your idea? Hold on. Let me get this up. Hold on. Oh, it's a react and you're a dummy. Got him.
You're not meant to open this until after you acquire Wave Beam. But I remember the Japanese runner years ago tested opening this door with Hyper Beam and Metroid Suit. And surprisingly, the door actually did open, but only when Samus sat at the border of the room transition. That means the other side of the one-way frame door is loaded, which is good. Sadly, this wasn't possible to replicate in any other way using regular beams, not even Wave Beam. Now obviously we can already clip through this door using Bomohe's Cube, but what if there was another way? If it was possible to reverse open this door with beams, we might be able to do Storm, Skip, and MG. That's what I decided to investigate. Positioning seems to be important, so I decided to test some theories. With Bomohe's Cube, I tested firing beams at a variety of angles and positions. If Samus is in the half of the frame with the door may open only with beams aimed from outside. If Samus is too deep, even beams that were aimed directly won't do a thing. So this may explain why even Wave Beam wasn't working on the other door. And with the Morph Tunnel being there, this is not ever gonna work with non-Wave Beams.
Okay.
My next best bet would be using Diffusion Beam. I did a little bit of limit testing as well, grabbed invincibility in my legacy patch game, and tried to get the door to open. And as it turns out, Samus had to be at least halfway into the door frame in order to unlock it. That checks out with the Hyper Beam deal. So technically, it is possible to do this with Diffusion Beam. Thinking back of the Hyper Beam situation, I wondered, could I open this door with Diffusion Beam from the door frame below?
I'm trying to think of what this skips.
Unfortunately, we don't have any pseudo-wave tech that's usable on this kind of layout, so the short answer is no. But luckily, just as an experiment, we can once again use the funny angled beams from Bomohe's Cube. I fired a bunch of slow shots and then got myself under the doorframe to see what happened. It worked. It actually worked. I was very shocked to confirm that it is technically possible to reverse open that door with Diffusion Beam. The problem now is that without using major glitches, the tech to do that simply does not exist. At this rate, if there is a chance that Storm, Skip, and MG happens, there are two possibilities. One, we find a vertical pseudo-wave that goes straight up through the ceiling, or two, a diagonal pseudo-wave through the wall in midair. But then we don't really have time to get into the door frame. Maybe flash shift? Every time I thought of those two options, they seemed farther and farther from being possible. This was the hardest part of labbing.
I mean, flash shift seems like the best option since it's like pretty much a frame thing.
Had to come further shift.
I mean, look how fast flash shift is generally. And there's also weird things with flash shift. Sometimes it's supposed to hit the top door, right? So I feel like you would technically be in a position when that's hitting, but then you load this room, right? So then you'd have to like stop on said position, huh?
I thought of those two options, they seemed
Hold on, yeah, I'm just curious to see what this is before we start.
This was the hardest part of labbing this trick. I now had to come up with tech that did not exist if I wanted to make this a reality. I had to ask myself, is there any tech in the game at all that could get me a pseudo-wave here? Well, I tested some very wild ideas. The first thing that came to mind was a close relative of the short boost tech found around the same time. Flash
where you stop yourself,
slide, and then tap L1 Samus is off the ledge. If you do this from a specific distance and with some nuance that I won't get into here, Samus gets partially clipped to the ledge. This tech allows us to do some very interesting things. Airwalking, which has been known for a long time in the community. Clipping, also been known for a while, although it has next to no applications. An insane form of clipping that I believe I found. I will say I got very sidetracked from my original goal.
I do think
messing
we're getting
around with
into
this
major
tech,
glitch
this
category
abomination.
because you are clipping into
Anyway, back
blocks,
to the
but
matter
yeah.
at hand. Airwalking has some limitations. There are some things that will break you out of the state and others that won't. My experience and understanding of this tech and pseudo-waves eventually led me to one idea. I would try to airwalk to the wall and do a running double turnaround pseudo. So if I could just get on the ledge, hop down, flash shift to the wall, and now do that double turnaround pseudo wave in airwalk, it might just
Easy.
work. I tried and tried and tried, but this idea simply failed. Feels like Samus just won't stay in the air long enough to do this pseudo, and I wouldn't be able to get into the door frame in time anyway. Thankfully, this did not work.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Another thing that popped into my mind was a pseudo wave that I accidentally found this one time with Bomb HQ. There's a specific frame of the landing turnaround that puts Samus near aligned with the axis, but not really. I randomly found you can clip shots into walls in the air like this at a very specific angle,
I haven't seen this before.
specific timing. Of course, this is done with Bomb HQ, but what if there was a way to replicate this without skew? I tried everything. Everything.
It's too bad,
Same
like, we
thing,
can't
but without skew.
have an easy way to save state, because, oh my god, imagine how easy this testing would be with save states.
Morph shots in midair, melee buffered shots, space jump shots, shooting right, shooting from below, slide jump morph shot, more flash shift stupidity, nothing seemed to work.
But
That's when I remembered another bit of forgotten tech, the tilt.
I don't think you can really
Watch
know.
and learn, chumps.
Something that myself and others investigated years ago. If skew is when Samus rotates around the vertical axis, then tilt is when Samus rotates around the forward axis like she's on a slope. Or she mad. Just pull up to a magnet with a grapple beam and get tilted. It's that easy. The most interesting use of tilt up to this point was actually to get axis skew in a reliable way. And also the tilt clip.
Nice.
But this time, I would use just the tilt's rotation in hopes that it could be used for a pseudo wave. Moving magnets, which conveniently there's one right here, can give a pretty big tilt. Big enough to make Samus hoppity hop. I was very surprised to find that with tilt, it was actually possible to replicate the pseudo wave shot seen earlier with skew. Turns out with bigger tilts, it got even more lenient. And so, I had just found the missing tech. The plan now is that I would have to land.
I do feel like this is, this is teetering on major glitch, honestly, in my opinion. But like any sort of like access skew in any way, whether it's tilt, skew, X, Y position,
Wave shot,
I don't know.
And move back to the door frame with flash shift just before the diffusion beam hits the door. The idea was so far-fetched, but I had no choice but to try. So I locked in and grinded those attempts. When I lab new tech...
No, because short boost is not like some sort of access shenanigan with the game. Right.
Have to get good at that tech, even if it leads nowhere, so that if it fails, I can say with 99% certainty that it's not possible. So I'm unsure of what even matters here.
Related to
Do
clipping,
I need
though?
a specific angle? What's the
Yeah, but you're not
lowest point on the wall I can
clipping.
shoot through?
With short boost, you don't clip into the ground. And you're not like changing the axis of Samus. Yeah, like I think once you break the axis, I think it's major glitch. But it's moving towards no major glitch based on both Discord conversations. I mean, I don't even know, because eventually we're going to have like runs required to be verified with like a exe load time remover, and then like basically just turn this into a wild west game where like you can just like 30 hertz turbo at that point. You have to download like 5 exe files to run on your Switch. So you have to run a secondary program to remove load times on your Switch 2. And it's got to like hook up to your live split and your bank account as well.
Is it even possible to be in the doorframe in time with flash shift? After some hundred
No, a CAC is not.
I finally did it. It actually finally worked. This trick is actually so much harder than it looks. Many variables need to line up to perfection, and then it also feels like RNG may be involved. If you want to mess around with this, I'll list the steps in the description below, but this video is not going to be a tutorial. Keep in mind, this is only a showcase and there isn't a good setup yet. I got the first success out of sheer determination and luck, and I don't even know if this will actually.
In addition, any glitch that results in Samus's rotation suffering a lasting displacement is disallowed. Any kind of access skew. Well, then there you have it. Okay, so if there is a setup that doesn't require this with the tilt, then yeah, but like, what are we going to change the rules? You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for new tricks being found, but like, what's the point of having this if like this is literally says any kind of access skew? And then if someone goes, well, it's a tilt, not a skew. What? No, it's not an asshole, it's a hole. Okay.
Be allowed in NMG.
What's that?
That said, now that this is possible, you must be wondering what effect this thing will have on routing in any percent NMG with screw attack short boost. Assuming this gets allowed into NMG,
yeah, it's just a different access.
Which, with the current rule set, it would not be. This is going to be a late game run killer. The first time you're in for it, normally you'd go straight for SQ, instead you skip that and go for this trick. But nothing really changes in the early game. I did most of my labbing in an unrestricted practice file, so the EMI wasn't there, but in a real NMG run, you would have to deal with the EMI by despawning it with the ledge warp. There are a few options, and sadly they're all a bit tricky because the ledge warp spots are not super convenient and you can get caught. Maybe if storm skip becomes easy to do on the first try, we might think of skipping the ledge warp, but I don't know about that. Next
first of all, a ledge warp isn't allowed. The general argument is its application is only used once, so it's okay. That is the dumbest crock of shit I've ever heard. No. Have some fucking consistency. You don't get to say it's only used once. Therefore, it makes it okay. What the fuck would be the point of rules? If the Dread Discord is actually considering this, even though it goes against the current rule set, that is the largest crock of shit. That is so stupid and inconsistent. No wonder why there's a separation in Discords. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, I don't know the conversations. I'm going to have to look later. But, like, if you are so inconsistent, or, like, you have a rule set, and then it goes against it, but then you go, well, it's only done once. That is a kind of inconsistency that just pisses people off. That's bad. That is so bad. There's no point in having rules then.
If you do get the ledge warp, now you're gonna have to go around the water room and open the lower charge door. This is where the route really branches off. With this trick done, we're able to skip the twin bot fight, the big cold room, and some redundant movement to head straight for wave beam. But there are a few things to note at this point. Since this trick lets us skip the big cold room, we are now one step closer to finding gravity skip.
A cool
NMG,
trick though, but yeah.
But we still don't have any NMG ways to get past this water section.
That would be like saying you can moonfall on SM, but you can't do the moon dance trick. No. Moondance is entirely different. Moondance clips you through powerbomb blocks via like max speed. I hate Moondance. And luckily there's no application for it other than RBO, because then we'd have a conversation. But that's entirely different in my opinion.
If that were possible, coupled with this
and you could argue then don't do the clip in Wasteland if that's the argument, because those are powerbomb blocks as opposed to like wrecked ships solid blocks that aren't. You're not skipping anything. Then sure, I'd be totally down with not allowing a clip through those powerbomb blocks at Wasteland if that's what it means.
Skipping the trip to Perenia for a gravity suit could be a gigantic time saver. Not getting Storm Missile makes acquiring Space Jump a much larger detour than before. So we have 3 options.
Oh yeah.
Get Space Jump before Wave Beam anyway. The fastest way to get Space Jump now would be a very non-viable Ledge Warp. Or get Spin Jump after Gravity Suit, or just roll without jump upgrades. I'll let the community figure this one out.
You probably
Skipping
just have to.
Storm Missiles means that the late game boss fights may become a little tougher and you'll have to rely more on mashing or turbo. The last thing you want to know is how much time will this save? Honestly, I don't have a solid answer to this right now. Going straight to Wave Beam instead of Storm Missiles sounds pretty big. Somewhere around 1 minute or even more seems plausible, but then this time save is also offset by the choice of jump upgrade, having to do the ledge warp, and possibly tougher boss fights. Not to
Have we come to the consensus that no one knows what a major glitch is yet? Well, it's already laid out. If they've already made these rule sets, which, I mean, I was a part of some of the discussion as well back when the game came out. No major glitch classification. Aim down clipping, camera lock not allowed, grappling magnets through walls, ledge climb clipping, reverse magnets, slope clipping, shine sync. Instances of collision updating, failing to update or respawning do not invalidate a glitch. And then this is the important part, right? Any glitch that results in Samus rotating suffering, and this requires an access skew to do. I'd have to look because people in here said that they're saying if you only do it once, then it's fine. I will literally never interact with the Dread community again. Like, even though it doesn't matter, it's like you just lost a customer. Who cares? But like that would be so outrageous to like just go against something because it's only once. That would be the dumbest thing I think I would have ever witnessed in a community. But yeah, anyway, that's a cool trick though. I was curious to see the trick. All right, let's get started. Your Honor, I only ran him over once, and I know the rules say, the law, it says that you're not supposed to, but it was just one time. You're right. We'll allow it this once. Checkmate. That was Arc Andy on YouTube. If you want to know who that was, they're very good at the game. They find a lot of really cool glitches.